Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I have a very interesting wheel on my table, which is Begode EX.N. Right now I'm going to disassemble this wheel to show you guys the build quality of this wheel, to show you how it's built inside, and I will do the preparation for daily usage, including the hydro protection, and of course I will do some tuning. First of all, I'd like to appreciate Begode for listening my claims regarding the HS wheels had off-road tires installed from the factory. This one has the street tire, which is HS version as well. And this is a really cool feature that right now it doesn't require any tire changes. And it will definitely let you take the maximum of your HS version in stock, which is really awesome. So let's go ahead and disassemble it and see what's inside. But before proceeding with EX.N, I would like to share with you guys some feedback from EX.N users regarding the cooling system tuning, which I've done for that wheels, and I've made a translation for the screenshots attached to this video so you can read everything by yourself. From my side, I'd like to say that I consider this project being really successful and awesome, because this system is not really loud. It's as loud as stock one, but it's really efficient and works very well during hot summer days or long uphills. Also, I'd like to appreciate those users who give me such feedback, because it inspires me to do much more complicated tuning of the wheels in future. Traditionally, I'm starting the build quality check with the motor, and here we have the rotor of this motor. This rotor doesn't have any extra holes here on this side or on that side, which can be sometimes drilled by the production team of Begode or someone else who produces these motors. This one looks nice. Also the magnets looks nice. I do not have any big cracks or damages of the magnets, except just some little dents like you can see here or here, but this is perfectly normal for all wheels. I've seen that in Begode motors and in Kingston as well, and I believe the same picture will be in Motion motors too. As for the stator, I don't like how this Hall sensor board is fixed here. There is lack of sealant in my opinion, so I'm going to add here a lot more of sealant to fix this Hall sensor board much better. As for the winding for this side, I have no concerns, it looks nice. From this side the stator looks nice, except just some small issues like this one here. You see I'm moving the winding really easy. But anyway, before pouring lacquer into the winding, I will fix these issues with the rope, like I see here. And after this procedure, the winding of this motor will be fixed really tightly and nicely. This part of the motor cable has some problems, like the Hall sensor wire insulation damage for the blue wire. This also applies for the yellow phase wire. The insulation is damaged here as well a little bit. You may answer how this happened. This happened because of these strange pedal hangers. You may see that here it's like made for shims from this side, and from the other side there is no special hole for shims, which is really weird for me. But anyway, what do we have here? This is the right pedal hanger according to the wheel movement. So here we have some kind of a drill, which is not really accurate. And of course it has sharp corners inside. And when the Begode employees did assembly of this wheel, they had to put all these connectors and the wire inside of this place. And this is really hard to do. It doesn't have so much free space there, and they have damaged a little bit the insulation of the wires. So that's why it's important to do a really attentive inspection of your wheel before riding it. When you receive it and get out of the box, you should disassemble and check everything to find things like this, because for example, if the whole sensor wire will be damaged completely, for example due to vibrations, this will result in bad things, like the rider will fall off from the wheel at the high speed, which is really not acceptable. As for the motor covers, their painting is really good here, thanks to the lack of the protruding wooden screws into the wheel well, which normally scratch the covers of the other Begode wheels. This one didn't suffer much from that. What we can see here is just a little dents like this one or this one, and of course there are some scratches which are not reaching the metal, but overall the painting quality is really good. I do not see any places on these covers where the paint wants to run away. Of course, we also have some damage of the paint here where the bolts are screwed in, which are fixating these covers on the rotor, but this is pretty normal. As long as you tighten those bolts, they will scratch a little bit the paint, so it's okay. As for the bearing places, the tolerances are really good. The bearings sit there really tightly, and I really like that. As for the bearings, they are traditionally of low quality, although they work really smoothly and I do not hear any noises coming from them. But the sealers here are of traditional bad quality, and here I do see damage of the lip of the sealer, so I do not recommend you to ride with these bearings without sealers installed into the covers, which I already told about in my previous videos. Even if you are going to ride only in dry conditions, you have to consider that the dust will get inside the sealers and will mix with the grease, and of course will result in damage of these bearings as well. So here I have opened the sealer, and you may see how much grease does this bearing have. Not so much, I think. The production guys try to do as much cost savings as they can. And if you decide not to replace the stock bearings, which is also okay, I strongly recommend you to remove the old grease, wash it away with the gasoline or something else, and replace it with the better one, and of course install the sealers in the covers, which is a really necessary upgrade for this wheel to ride a lot of miles without bothering about bearings problems.
Yeah, I hear them argue over who's the best, that's not what I focus on. I never claim to be the chosen one. See, they can keep the medal, gold or bronze. I'm just in this for creation of the art and spreading hope through songs. I was never in the market for a dream. I create them on my own, and writing started in my teens. That first bar I wrote was like a butterfly effect, like a drop in the ocean, creating parting of the seas. Yeah, and I could never dream where it would take me. 8 flights a week with a calendar looking crazy. Remember back at school used to panic about my grades, see? Now I'm getting bookings in Canada for a rave. Jeez, yeah, it's kinda mad how quick this life can change. So you can always switch the picture that's inside the frame. I went from stressing out of life, now it's vibes for days. I guess there's always space for change, what I'm trying to say.
Everything around me's changing, I guess I'm changing too. It takes so much just to walk away from the pain that I've been through. Brighter days on my horizon's where I'm going to. As long as I can look myself in the mirror and say I still love you. Still love you.
So I have assembled the motor with pedal hangers, I have installed the sealers from Vasok Pro, and during the installation procedure I had to mod a little bit this sealer holder here, which protects the sealers against the rotation around the stator. This is because we have an extra spacer under these pedal hangers, and its height is a little bit more than the pedal hanger height here. But this is not a complicated procedure, and now the sealers are installed nicely and tightly in this motor and protect the bearings very well from water or dirt and grass. Right now I would like to talk about two big advantages of this particular wheel construction. So first of all, I would like to appreciate Begode for changing the system for the closed pedal fixation. So right now we have an extra bolt here in the pedal hanger which fixes the axle, and this is really useful and reliable system which could be found in EUCU pedal hangers or in Motion, and I like it much more than the shitty spring system which Begode installed in the previous wheels on the pedal hangers. The second great advantage of this wheel is in the motor cable length. Right now you do not have to disconnect the motor from the controller board for tire maintenance. All you have to do is just to unscrew these pedal hanger screws, which fix the pedal hangers to the inner shell, and remove the motor, and the length of this motor cable gives you a lot of space to replace the tire or inner tube without disconnecting the motor from the main controller board. This is really awesome, and it will reduce the pit stop time for this wheel for tire maintenance in future. So now let's talk about the batteries. So we have here standard battery packs from Begode, which are assembled with Samsung 50E elements. Speaking about the assembly quality, I haven't found any issues at the joints where there is a lack of sealant or something like this. Two battery packs have really good assembly quality. So what I've done here is just remove this braided protection. So this is kind of protection which is not made of rubber or something like that. It is a braided piece of sheet, and since this part of the wires is located outside of the wheel, and when you are riding on heavy rains, this protection will be soaked, the water will seep in and go inside the battery pack right through the wires. So here you may see that there are really big holes. Right now I'm putting my stick there without any problems. So the water will get in, and in the best case the battery will be just damaged, and in the worst case the wheel is going to catch the fire. So that's the main reason why I have cut the parts of this so-called protection, and right now I am going to cover all the cable entrances here with the sealant. Pour a lot of sealant here inside this protection as well. By doing so, I will be sure that if any water will accidentally get inside the plastic battery boxes, it won't get inside these battery packs anyway, because these battery packs will be closed really reliably. One may say that this wire protection was made here to reinforce these wires, since they are outside and they can be pulled accidentally by something and tear down. But I must show you that this is much more decorative than the protective one, because here it was fixed like with the sealant in the battery box, and on this side it is also fixed with the sealant to this thermal shrinkable tape of the battery pack. So if you will try to tear it out, it will just go away without any significant effort, and frankly speaking, you are not able to fix this kind of protection directly to the BMS. So we can consider that this type of the protection is more decorative than practical. Speaking about the battery boxes, I like to appreciate Begode that they are assembled without any wooden screws. Here we have threaded bushings melted inside the plastic, and this is a really nice solution. I really like that. Here we do have LED strips for the backlight, but they are pretty dim because of this dark plastic of the battery boxes. To make a reliable hydro protection of these battery boxes, I will assemble them using sealant here on these adjacent areas. So here we have cable entrance. I will pour a lot of sealant here, and here as well I will cover up this part of the battery entrance, which is not really used. Also you can see here this part is covered from the factory, and of course I will not go into put any sealant on these areas, because here we do have an LED strips, and if you assemble this area with the sealant, it will make it dimmer, and it really doesn't make any sense for that. So the main idea is to protect just this area right where the battery pack is located. So now we've reached the most interesting part of tuning of this wheel. This is the controller box, the upper part of the wheel, and this is a really big advantage of this wheel because this controller box is a massive heatsink. So here is my hand. For the comparison of the dimensions, you see that it's really big. And if we turn it around, we can see a really big ribs here, and that's really awesome because the tire, while rotating here during the riding, will produce a lot of wind here, and this will make cooling of the system really efficient. Although this is a really cool design, we have a lot of disadvantages from the Begode, and right now I'm going to tell you about that. So you can see here we do have a fan. And if we turn it around, we can see that there is a channel for airflow. So the fan blows there and the air goes through this channel. And the problem of this design comes up when you are going to ride on the wet roads or during the rains. If you are going through the wet road or, for example, through the puddles, the tire will get a lot of water on it and pour it here, like with the some pressure. And the water will definitely go inside this channel right here, and then afterwards it will reach this fan, and if the fan will be working, it will just pour all the water inside this controller box, and of course you will get the short circuit of your controller board or the DC board or music board or something else. This is the obvious result of such a wet ridings. And another thing I would like to mention with this design, if you will be riding on the mud, the mud will block here this airflow and you will not be able to clean it somehow. If there will be no such kind of ventilation channel, it will be really easy to clean up these ribs, for example with the toothbrush, because there is no problem to reach that here and to clean it up, since there is a lot of space there in the wheel well. But in this case you will not be able to reach this small space here. The next problem here is the speakers installation, because those speakers are really exposed to the stones, which will be definitely gathered by the tire and shoot here into the speakers, and this is really a problem because those speakers will be easily damaged by the stones. And of course, after this membrane will be damaged, all the water and dirt can go inside and also damage all your electronics. I would like to pay your attention to those 6 holes. So I think when Begode did design of this controller box, they probably think about some kind of a grill or a protection for the membranes of the speakers, but something went wrong and they didn't install any protection for these speakers, so that's really a problem for this design. Speaking about the beeper, I do not see such a problem here because there will be no stones flow, only the water or a little bit of dirt can get in, so I don't see any reason to cover it up. Let it be as loud as it can be. So what's my plan for tuning here? First of all, I will remove the controller board, change the thermal interface to the ceramic pads. I will remove the stock compound from the controller board and will replace it with Silagerm. This is the special compound I'm using in all wheels water protection. It is used not only for water protection of the PCBs, but also helps for the cooling of those PCBs because it has thermal transfer capabilities. My feeling is that this design doesn't need any fan, but since the owner of this wheel asked me to leave it here, I will move it somewhere on the other place. I don't know where. I will show you that after I'll finish this work. Next point in the plan is to remove this music board with the speakers, to cover up these holes of the speakers and try to install an extra capacitor here in this area. I'm also not sure right now if it will fit here or not. This is something I'm going to check during this work. On this side of the controller box, I'm going to remove this ventilator channel to release those ribs in the center. By doing so, to help them work efficiently while rotation of the tire. So in the end of my work, the controller box will be fully sealed and there will absolutely no risks running on the wet days or heavy rains or something like this. So no water will get inside of this controller box anyway.
get no plaudits from the audience, and we ain't hearing no applause from the auditorium. I snuck it in my jacket, had it stashed inside the inner lining. Couple shots I got 'em oscillating, we ain't synthesizing. Tryna make a couple notes, that's how we got 'em gliding. Tryna slide on the society, we ostracizing. We ain't city centre living, now we're in the bits. Came to put 'em in the deep sleep, it's the anaesthetist.
Anything we dealing no easy, they be the evilest. Anesthetics putting them to sleep is the anaesthetist. Man are getting buried, if anything will be ferried off the Caribbean Sea, off the coast of Central America. Automatic whip, so it's changing gears if you didn't hear it. Fully did it and didn't have any interfering. Looking up and we couldn't ever see any ceiling. Life is dark when we living it, be forever evening. Get no plaudits from the audience, and we ain't hearing no applause from the auditorium. I snuck it in my jacket, had it stashed inside the inner lining. Couple shots I got 'em oscillating, we ain't synthesizing. Tryna make a couple notes, that's how we got 'em gliding. Tryna slide on the society, we ostracizing. We ain't city centre living, now we're in the bits. Came to put 'em in the deep sleep, it's the anaesthetist.
Now I'm almost finished with the heatsink and the controller board, and I would like to do a real quick review how it is going to be here, what is done and what is changed in comparison with the stock one. So first of all, the Schottky diode will be located here. I will utilize one of the holes which were used initially for fixing the fan. I will cover the second hole with the sealant as well. After, I will do the assembly of this wheel, cover the controller board with the DC-DC board with the compound. I will solder all necessary wires for Schottky diode, and of course I will do the cable management here. Later on I will make a picture and put it in this video to show you guys how it will finally look like. But for now this is okay to explain you guys what I've done already. The controller board is no longer glossy. You can see that I have removed all the stock compound from it. This is the preparation part for cover it up with the beta compound. The controller board is installed here with the ceramic thermal pads, so this will help to get rid of the heat from MOSFETs as fast as possible and to transfer them on the heatsink. The fan is installed now here. I've used one of the holes which was used originally for the music board. I've drilled just only an extra one and fixed it here. Anyway, I'd like to repeat once again that I do not see any reason of fan installation here because the heatsink is really massive. But since the owner of this wheel asked me to save this detail, I found this place the best one for installation. So it will blow like this, in this direction. Anyway, it will blow with the same hot air which is inside of this box, since it will be sealed with the sealant after the final assembly, but let it be. Here is the detail which comes from old Begode tradition. This is the furniture detail, and it will help me to fix up the capacitor. So the capacitor will be installed here like this. I will put an extra foam material around it to prevent any damage from vibrations. And of course, this detail will help me to fix it up if the wheel will get into the crash and it will be rotating or something like that, and the capacitor won't go on this side and damage the controller board or DC-DC board. I've covered those holes with the material which is used for PCB boards production. I don't remember how it's called really, but I guess you know that. And I've used a lot of sealant, which is not just a sealant but the glue sealant here. I've covered this big hole with the part of the cable channel which I removed from the heatsink ribs from that side, and of course I've used a lot of sealant glue on this side as well. By doing so, I am sure that those holes were covered really reliably and they will able to sustain any damage from flying stones, and of course they will not let any water inside of this controller box. And before the covering this controller box with the upper side, I will cover all the holes with this sealant as well. And I will put a lot of sealant on these adjacent parts, so this controller box will be fully sealed and this wheel will be able to ride on heavy rains without any problems. Now I finished tuning of the EX.N, and I must add that I have created an extra mudguard for front light protection from dirt and water. You may see now on the photos how it looks like inside of this frame. So let me make just a small conclusion and my opinion on this wheel. I really like this wheel, except just some strange solutions, like Begode said that this is a sport wheel, and because of that they didn't install a trolley handle for this wheel, and I must disagree with this point, because in my opinion, if this is a sport wheel and you are coming for example for a forest ride or a park ride, you are coming with your car, take out the wheel from your car and you need to move about 50 or 100 meters on foot or something like that, the trolley handle would be really preferable and helpful for that purpose, but this wheel doesn't have it in stock. And in the meantime, Begode installed the music board with the speakers, which I consider is not needed option for the sport wheel. I don't know why they decided to add that option instead of a trolley handle. My understanding and my vision is that the trolley handle is more important for a sport wheel than the music board with speakers. Also, I don't like stock pedals, they are really heavy. The weight of just one pedal is more than 1 kilogram. So if someone is going to buy this wheel, it's very important to replace the stock pedals with the good custom ones, just to get rid of extra weight for this wheel really easy. Anyway, my overall impression about this wheel is really positive. I really like the frame concept. First of all, it looks cool when you unpack this wheel, it impresses you. And the second feature of the frame is that you are no longer worried about crashes. And also you can do seated ridings. There shouldn't be any problems in the area where the pedal hangers and the frame is connected, like we had in plastic inner shell, where the seated riding resulted in cracks and damages. So here you can just install the seat and do the seated riding without any considerations. Also, I'd like to mention the potential of the cooling system of this wheel. If you do its tuning, this will be one of the coolest wheels in the Begode lineup. So to summarize my speech, I would like to say that if I hadn't had already an RS, I would definitely buy this wheel for myself because I really like it. So that's about it. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you later, guys.